Hello, scholars! It has been a little while since we did a video like this, but I wanted to explain the Unit 1 PBA to you fully. And I wanted to be able to do it so you could go back to the video and watch it a couple times until you really understand it. What is a PBA? A PBA is a project-based assessment. So instead of a final exam or a paper, you're going to show what you've learned this unit through a project. As you know, the essential question that has guided all of the lessons so far has been, how can we influence and mobilize others for change? We have studied how different world leaders influence and mobilize their citizens, how different community leaders influence and mobilize their communities, and what better way to test whether or not you understood that concept than have you mobilize your community. So to describe the PBA, we use something called GRASPs. We talk about the goal, the role, audience, situation, product, and standard. So let's go over the goal. Your goal for this project is to get as many adult, family, and community members as you can to go out and vote, especially for the presidential candidate that you believe in the most. Your role is a 7th grader who is not old enough to vote, but wants to make a difference in their community and country. The audience is your friends, your family, your neighbors, your community, the United States citizens at large. Maybe for social media, it could be your followers. The situation is this one. You are in a pivotal presidential election year. Pivotal means very important. As a minor, you cannot vote, but you can influence and mobilize others to vote, to support issues that you care about. The product, this is the actual thing that you're going to give to us to grade, is a call to action. Those of you who were with us last year in 6th grade, this is going to be familiar, but this is sort of the next step. So your call to action could be a social media post or a campaign. It could be an email or a letter that you send to families or friends or even neighbors. It could be a poster, digital or physical, that you pass around or put up around your building. And it could be a multimedia group chat text message that you forward to family and friends. The standards are how we are assessing what you've done in the project and what things are very necessary for that project. So your call to action must have imagery and text that grabs people's attention. You have to have an explicit call to action, like vote on November 3rd. You have to give specific instructions on how to carry out that action. And the next generation standard, remember we talked about standards, those things that 7th graders have to know how to do before they leave 7th grade. We're doing 7W4, which is a writing standard. Create a poem, story, play, or artwork or other response to a text, author, or theme or personal experience. And we are using social justice standards this year too in ELA. I will work with friends, family, and community members to make our world fairer for everyone, and we will plan and coordinate our actions in order to achieve our goals. So some issues that you can research to find out what candidate you support the most before you ask people to vote for that candidate. You could look up racial equality, immigration, healthcare, the environment, education, LGBTQ rights, employment, women's rights, COVID-19, gun violence, criminal justice, housing, and any other ones that you find very important. So let's look at the rubric. This is what we're going to use to grade your call to action. I'm going to send you a link so you can read this at your leisure, but as always, you know that I go right over to the very left under that 4 column to describe what a perfect project looks like. So we have 5 categories: a call to action, attention grabbing, imagery, information, and the structure and design of your project. So your call to action, you should give your audience a clear, concise, and succinct action that they can take to vote for a candidate you support. Your call to action must grab people's attention. There are a lot of things out in this world trying to get their attention, so you have to try hard to make yours stand out from the rest. You should use photography or illustrations that are relevant to the action you'd like your audience to take. And you should include a link to an official website that offers more information on the specific topic of your call to action. And as far as the structure and design, here are some guidelines to make it stand out the most. Your call to action text has to be at least a third of your overall design. Your image has to be clear, in focus, with proper resolution. And you can have no more than 2 different fonts and no more than 3 different colors of fonts. And if you decide to bold or underline or italicize, you do so sparingly, which means you don't overdo it. I'm going to show you 2 examples of a 4. If you needed to know what some of the higher level words are in the rubric, you can see them in purple. I've provided a glossary right here for you to look up. All right, so let's say that stopping gun violence is the issue that matters the most to me. I want everybody to vote for the person that believes in the same things that I believe in and will actually do something to make the country, to make my school, to make the Bronx a safer place. So here are some steps. First, I research what the candidates have to say about gun violence and what their plans are to keep me safe at school and to keep my family safe and to keep my neighborhood safe. I use official websites to gather my information. I've given you a link to a website that shows you all the presidential candidates for 2020, and you can go to their official websites to look at their position and their plans to make the world, the country, a better place. So after researching, I find out that Joe Biden plans on stopping companies from making or selling assault weapons, like the ones used in school shootings. So I decided that I'd like people to vote for Joe Biden. Now, you can decide to vote for any candidate you want. This is just an example I'm using. Second thing I do is I think of the specific thing I'd like people to do when they see my call to action. And what you say depends on who your audience is. Who is going to see your call to action? Who are you going to send your call to action to? So in this example, let's say that my audience is my friends and followers on social media. And most likely they're my age, so they can't vote either. But they can get their parents to vote. So my call to action needs to be short and to the point. I have an example on the left here. Joe Biden will ban assault weapons. Tell your parents to vote for him if you want to stop gun violence. That's too long. It has to be short and to the point. So on the right here, you can see this is the call to action I decided on. Stop gun violence. Tell your parents to vote for Joe Biden. Third, I'm going to create my post, my email, or my poster. I'm going to make sure to choose an image that will grab people's attention, but because I'm dealing with gun violence, I have to do it in a respectful way, because some people I know have lost family members and friends to gun violence. So I make sure to tell my friends and followers where they can go to get even more information. I'm going to show you how I came up with my call to action so that you can follow that same process to get yours. But here I've started. If you can see, my call to action is at least 1/3. In this case, it's half of my image. I've chosen a very clear symbol that tells you, before you even read the text, that I'm against guns. I put the word stop in red and the word Joe Biden in blue to make them stand out. And on the bottom, I've given you a link to go to that you can read specifically what Joe Biden plans to do to ban assault weapons. So this stands out. The images I've used make sense. We can even go to the rubric. My call to action is clear. Yes, stop gun violence. Tell your parents to vote for Joe Biden. Attention grabbing. I think this image of a gun with a no sign definitely grabs your attention. The image of Joe Biden on the bottom right gives a face to the name. Imagery. My photography and my illustrations are relevant to the action I'd like my audience to take. So I have against gun violence, and then I have Joe Biden's image. Information, I include an official website that offers more information. I've done so right down here. And the structure and design, my call to action text is at least 1/3 of my overall design. That's correct. My image is clear and in focus. And I have no more than 2 different fonts. And actually, yep, I have one font here and another font here. And I use bold, underline, or italicize. I don't really use it in this case, but I do highlight some of the words using color. All right, let's look at a second example. In this example, let's say that immigration is the issue that's most important to me. Let's say that I'm the child of undocumented immigrants, and I want everyone I know to vote for the person that will do something to give more opportunities for families like mine. First, I research what the candidates have to say about immigration and what their plans are for families like mine. I use official websites to gather my information. While researching, I find out that Howie Hawkins supported the New York Dream Act, which lets me get financial aid and scholarships for college. This is going to help me pursue my dream of going to college. So I'm really happy about this candidate who's actually supporting things that make my life better. I think of the specific thing I'd like people to do when they see my call to action. And what I say depends on my audience. In this case, I plan on texting and emailing my call to action to all my adult family members. And I want them to vote for Howie Hawkins. Remember that my call to action needs to be short and to the point. I can't say, Howie Hawkins supported the New York State Dream Act to let undocumented students get financial aid. Vote for him to help kids like me. Too long. I can just stick with this one to the right. I dream of a college education. Vote Howie Hawkins for president. This grabs my family's attention. It lets them know that this person is influencing my dreams. And it makes them want to read more about this person. So I create my posts. I make sure to choose an image that will grab people's attention in a respectful way. I make sure to tell my family where to go to get more information. So here's my call to action. I dream of a college education. Vote Howie Hawkins for president. Let's look at the rubric as we are assessing this call to action. Number 1, you give your audience a clear, concise, and succinct action they can take. Here it is. Vote Howie Hawkins for president. Attention grabbing. It has a combination of text and images and a design that makes it stand out. I really love this illustration. I do think it makes people stand out because it's something that grabs your attention. It looks different, and it's an interesting way to talk about dream or to represent dreams. I use photography illustrations, yes. Includes a link. Down here I say, Howie Hawkins supported the NYS Dream Act, which gives the children of undocumented immigrants the right to financial aid when they go to college. Visit howiehawkins.us to read more about what he will do for immigrant families. And then the structure and design. The text is at least 1/3. My image is clear, has proper resolution. I don't have any more than 2 fonts, and I only use 3 different colors. And I've decided to put dream and vote and Howie Hawkins in different colors to make them stand out. Again, I'm going to show you a video of how I created this specific one so that you can follow the same steps to create the ones that you want to create. Your PBAs are going to be great. I really can't wait to see what you guys come up with. The conversations and the discussions that we had, the academic protocols we followed, the research that you've done, I think you are very sophisticated 7th graders. And I really think that you can make a difference in the country. And we are so proud of you, and we can't wait to see what you come up with.